Hi friends, in this session, I shall be speaking with John Landis from Frontline Clothing, Hong Kong. Hi John, how are you?
Good. How are you? Good to see
Yeah,
you again.
same here. So in this small 5-minute talk, I welcome you and I start with my questions. Uh, so
Absolutely.
what so what has been your learning, your biggest learning in this 2020? Let's say last 6 months. What has been your
Uh,
biggest learning?
there's been so many, but I would say that the our two biggest would be one was that we really need to focus on being and focus all of our energy on being a value add supplier versus playing any sort of pricing game anymore. Um, Definitely being able to offer more of a collaboration environment with our customers rather than a just a simple supplier factory. And I would say number two would be, which is very closely related to that, is really spending a little bit more energy recognizing who we think are our true long-term partners, in whether it's brand or retailers. I think we learned a lot about who, and I think everybody learned a lot this year about who their true partners really are, and we take that term very seriously moving forward. So, yeah, for sure, that was. I think number two was probably the number one.
That's a big learning, and it's definitely which is going to be useful in for the coming years also.
Yes, indeed.
And what is the major direction you see for the industry in next 6 months?
I mean, 6 months. I mean, 6 months is such a. You can look at it two ways. It's either such a short time, but these days 6 months can be like 6 years.
Yeah,
I would say what we have been focusing on the last 6 months, and for the 6 month going forward, I would put them together is just being able to be more nimble. I think our side of the industry, again, and it's kind of a theme I'm seeing across the whole industry, is that really, again, becoming more tied at the hip with your customers, making sure that their calendar is intimately related to how you run your business, which means we need to be able to stop on a dime and start on a dime. A lot of the damage that was done this year, that was unavoidable for the reason of COVID, was because a lot of people weren't able to stop and start. And I think there has to be a lot of shared risk. Whereas I think what we all learned was a lot of the risk was put unnecessarily on a lot of the suppliers, to handle, whether it was in terms of piece goods, whether in terms of finished goods, and in terms of financially. So I think we have to hold hands a lot closer with our brand and retail partners and make sure that there's shared risk. So to answer your question short, I would say just being able to be more nimble.
absolutely. And what do you think about digitalization? Because that's getting very strong, and that's what we've been working with.
Sure. I mean, we've always invested in digitization and technology for environmental reasons, but now we're starting to see a lot more of a demand for it in the area of sampling. As we all know, there are several softwares available to be able to show samples and samples, draping, fitting in digital format. Though we haven't seen it adopted in a big way, we have seen people reach out in the past 6 months for a collaboration on these different fields. And then next, I would say probably the biggest buzzword I think will be transparency in terms of the full supply chain, whether that's through blockchain technology, tracing yarn, all the way to finished goods, or just simply being able to understand what chemicals and processes are used in the laundry. But I think transparency is definitely going to be taking a much bigger role in the big picture, as opposed to sustainability being the thing of the last 2 or 3 years. Now people want to know, really, are you doing it? I think
The real
people,
sustainability. Yeah,
yeah, I mean, they've had enough of greenwashing and all of that. They want to know, the truth from yarn.
absolutely. And what has been the most inspirational thing for your work in this year?
Inspirational or difficult? I would say learning to do more with less. I think less resources overall, less people, less time, less travel. But again, that goes back to your other question about technology. I think that should make it all easier at the end.
Absolutely. And how do you see your business and the denim business, denim industry next 2 years?
I mean, I think the smartest thing, and it goes back to all your points and questions. I mean, I think we will continue to invest and put our money behind sustainability, whether that means technology and automation, or just work with our clients towards doing more circular products. I mean, we're working with Ellen MacArthur Foundation now at the moment, and a company called Unspun here in Hong Kong on very specific projects to be able to make this a reality. I think a lot of people are signing up to these things without really knowing what goes into them. So I think the next, the next 2 years will be much further along on figuring out what it means to be more circular, and truly be able to report out and work with our clients on being proud of working with them, and them in reverse being proud to work with us. I think that's one of the things that's missing, and I think will evolve over the next 2 years, is the brands opening up to be proud of who their suppliers are. There's very few out there that do that, and I think that's something that we're looking to do more with the brands that we work with.
Okay, that's wonderful. Thank you, John. Thank you for joining me for this short and sweet talk.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, and all the best to you.
Cheers, you too. Bye-bye.